and welcome back to my storytelling channel. This is my Halloween Horror Fest month. Yes, I am starting early. And if you have ever experienced anything horrifying or have a story to share, please submit it to the email below and I would love to tell your story. These next few stories are short experiences sent in from listeners just like you. Thank you so much for sending in your stories. I appreciate you and I hope that you all enjoy these. Hi Hua, my name is Molly, and I've always wanted to submit a story, and to the best of my ability, I will try to give you as much detail to help give a visual to the story. Aside from that, I hope that you in the audience enjoy the spook of this. In 2022, I moved into a 2-story house with my sister, who has a family of 3. Along with them was also their nephew and his girlfriend. It was a 2-story, 3-bedroom, and 2.5-bath home. The master bedroom was downstairs, and the other rooms were upstairs. I shared a room with my niece, who was 7 at the time, and we slept in one of the rooms upstairs. During that time, I worked a part-time job, and during summer Fridays, we worked from home. That Friday, I was working in my room and decided to head down to look for something to eat. From the stairs, you see a majority of the house. In front of the stairs is the dining room. To the left of that is the kitchen. And to the right, you have a clear view of the living room and all the furniture. As I walk down the stairs, I see my sister hanging out on the couch. She also works from home, and my niece, who doesn't have school on Fridays, is playing and making noises nearby. I stepped onto the first floor and headed left to where the kitchen is. I turned to face the fridge, which when I am facing the fridge, the dining room and living room is to my left, the kitchen is to my right, and behind me is the kitchen counter. As I opened the side-by-side fridge doors looking for something to eat, I felt a childlike presence come behind me and stay there. I sensed that it was my niece, and so I started moving backwards, hoping to crush her against the counter behind me. But while moving backwards, the air kept getting thinner and thinner, making it unrealistic for someone to be behind me. When I turned around, no one was there. That was when I heard my niece still making noises from the living room. I quickly recollected myself and just went back to work, not thinking much about it. A few nights later, however, I woke up from my sleep in my room, still grogged and drowsy. My eyes were still adjusting to everything. I saw what was a silhouette of my niece in front of my bedroom door. As my mind began to question what my niece was doing standing there, I blinked and my eyes came into focus, bringing forward this black figure with hair covering its face, standing at the foot of my bed. And it began to crawl on top of me. In the midst of all this, I already knew I was not awake and still sleeping. Its hands was leaning in to choke and touch me. I felt anger in my body. I did not appreciate it disturbing me. I immediately grabbed both of its wrists to stop it from attacking me, and inches away from my face, I saw the long, dark nails ready to claw at me at any moment. During the tussle, I believe its fingernail touched me, causing my body to weaken. I was starting to lose the fight. As I was beginning to lose energy, I called out to my spirit guides for help and immensely felt a strong, powerful sensation, so strong that I was able to carry this entity and tossed it out of my bedroom window. I woke up, washed up, and saw that I had a blister on my face where it had touched me. In 2016, I was at home with my grandpa, keeping watch over him. Later that night, I went to sleep, and 10 minutes afterwards, I felt something begin to touch my leg. I shot up and grabbed my phone, turning on the light, thinking it was my grandpa. but there was no one there in that room with me. It didn't just happen that one time. It happened a few more times when I stayed in that house. I used to hear my grandpa talking in his room, and when I would go ask him who he was talking to, he would tell me that it was his brother. But the thing is, his brother died 5 months prior to that. So to not scare myself, I would just silently say, okay, and leave the room. Four years ago in Wisconsin, we stayed at this old house that they called the White House. And this house had this incredibly creepy vibe on the outside already. And the next day, when the guys went golfing, I went to get my nails done and did some grocery shopping. And when I returned home, I started cooking. And mind you, this time I was alone in the house. I felt someone tap me on the shoulder, and I thought the guys were back. But when I turned around, however, no one was there. It scared me, but I finished cooking. But here's where it sent me packing. Later that night, I found a book about the house we were renting. And this house was a mortuary home for over 40 years in the early 1900s. And you bet, I did not stay there alone for the rest of the week. My mom always said to say that whenever I saw something unnatural, since I tended to see or sense things like that. I never really believed her, because to me, if I pretended that I didn't hear or see, then maybe they would leave me alone. Earlier that day, I was talking to a coworker whose mother-in-law passed away, kind of a painful death, and I knew her, but not personally. She showed me a photo of her mother-in-law in Mon Cloes, and I didn't know what to say, and all I could say was, "Oh, she's pretty." Later that day, I took a nap at home, alone. My nap went well into the night, and I woke up because I heard the sounds of coins jingling on a Mon Cloes sash. I could see someone walking from the hallway toward me, and she was giggling, and she was repeating, and she got close enough that I realized it was my friend's mother-in-law. She smiled, her head tilted again, giggling, asking me. And I finally said, and she giggled again, and she said, and so finally I said in a very firm voice, and then she disappeared. That giggle, the coins that jingled, and her asking if she was pretty still lurks in my head every once in a while. It took me a really long time before I could wear monk clothes with coins again. Thank you for listening. I hope that you enjoyed those short stories.